Hey guys, what's going on? It's Everseen here. So I'm going to league start Earthshatter Slams Berserker on 3.27 start. I think that this is going to be probably the most reliable and hardcore friendly starter for this league. So I just want to do slams, farm for another build, and then push probably another build to pretty big min-max, whether it be a Wander, whether it be Herald Stacker I might end up doing. And I'm also looking into like Burning Arrow Vigor Chieftain, and Chieftain with Hinakora's Death Fury is going to be really, really good for the new breaches, especially because I assume they're going to be quite dense in the end game. But yeah, anyway, I threw up a guide with a bunch of leveling trees through Act 1 to 10. I also have all the skills from Act 1 in like 10, and then start of map setups and stuff. And then I've got early map links, I've got endgame links, and then I've got early mapping gear, endgame-ish gear. I really didn't prioritize too much on the gear for the POB, just because it's whatever to me. Yeah, I've got all the trees here, and then white and yellow maps, and then red maps pre-clusters, and then I have a Foulborn Red Dream setup. I've got a cluster setup with Overleech with the Immortal Ambition keystone, and then I've got another cluster setup with Echoes, and the Doriani Jewel, or Glorious Vanity Jewel with Doriani for Corrupted Soul. So we'll go over some stuff. I also did a 326 Berserker that died at 97. This character is really bad. Pretty much was just farming gear for another character, and I was like not even close to min-maxing the character. So I did, however, play Earthshatter Berserker as a league starter in Freesia League, where I actually ended up playing Ancestral Commander. That was probably the best rendition of the build that you could possibly play, and I ended up killing like Uber Shaper on it, getting echoes and stuff. So I've actually seen like the end of, you know, this sort of build. I just haven't really min-maxed a Slams character in a while because I normally pivot to others. So very good build for getting your 4 voidstones, very reliable, very versatile. And yeah, just to get it out of the way too, I know Imexile has uploaded a video about Slams Berserker, and this is basically just his, you know, reiterating his POB from last league, and he actually did this in the boss kill race for 326, and placed like top 5 or something, I think. So really good player. He's one of the best speedrunners in the game. I would definitely check out his stuff and cross-reference what we both have. Mine might be a little bit more beginner-friendly than his. And then he's also got like a full 5-hour, you know, 2-stone run to Exarch and Eater. He does die, however, a lot in this. He's not really playing it hardcore per se, but still, nonetheless, good resource to go and look at if you really need to see that sort of thing. So yeah, basically, just to reiterate, I've got all the skill trees, and then I've got all these setups, and then I've got all the skills here, and the early map links and stuff, and then I've got a little bit of items and stuff. So that's pretty much all that's in the POV. And then notes, I just have a leveling regex, which I actually stole from Imexile. So I'm not very good with regex stuff, so there it is. And let's go over now some of the setups that I'm kind of using. So Foulborn Red Dream is going to give us max life. Anytime we have fire resistance or all resistance on our skill tree, it's actually going to give that, and then also it's going to give % max life equal to the value that's here. So for example, you know, just using some fire resistance tattoos here, we're using 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so 7 times 6 is 43% max life, and then we're also getting another 3% here for 46, and then we're getting another 8% here for 54, and then we're getting another 15 from Diamond Skin, and then another 8, so it's like, you know, like 80% max life, which is quite potent, quite good. The only thing is that this jewel slot's going to be quite competitive for the Light of Meaning with physical damage, because there are so many nodes here that you take that boosts your physical damage like crazy. So yeah, undecided whether or not I want to play this, but yeah, nonetheless, I got it in here. And then we've got a cluster setup with Overleech. Basically here, I'm using Immortal Ambition for Overleech. You can use this until you do Echoes of Creation swap. And I've got double cluster in here. I actually generally like a double medium cluster just because you can go for mob mentality, which is Warcries have 5% chance to grant random frenzy charge. So this is really good for getting frenzy uptime on bosses to pretty much 100%. And then you've got Warning Call twice, which is going to give you tons of armor. And yeah, obviously we get the Onslaught node. And that's pretty much like all that's different about this is literally just Overleech, this cluster setup. And we're also going for Feed the Fury. Brutal Infamy is just giving, actually Brutal Infamy is not really the one you want. You want a different notable, but Feed the Fury is good. because we are always going to have all the benefits from leeching because we're constantly going to be leeching. We'll look at the Echoes setup, Echoes of Creation. This is pretty much going to be your endgame setup. I'll just go ahead and change the endgame gear here. And then I'll go endgame links here, and then we'll look at Earthshatter. And yeah, you're looking at, you know, about 2.9 million hit DPS. I think it's supposed to be more, but anyway, I don't know what's really wrong right now. I have a bunch of configs. I'm actually going to take Adrenaline off. It's going to take us down. We were supposed to get Adrenaline from the Oshabi Bloodline, but sadly they removed it, and they gave us some other buff that I am generally not interested in. But yeah, let's go over the Echoes of Creation setup. I would not use Echoes of Creation until you have probably at least like 30k armor. I have 51k in this current setup with flasks on. And yeah, you want 30k at least, and I like to take this leech because it's going to give you a little bit extra sustain with the Echoes of Creation. And then you can also use, you know, obviously we're going to have 6 endurance charges, and then we're going to have physical damage reduction on our chest piece, on our suffix, which is going to help there. And then we obviously use, you know, Corrupted Soul to give us energy shield, and then we use Divine Shield to then, when we inflict physical damage on our character, we're actually going to regenerate it as energy shield. So we're basically kind of like pseudo making this damage disappear by just padding it in our energy shield. So the way that Echoes works is when you attack, take 18% of your life as physical damage for each Warcry exerting the attack. So once you have like 5 Warcries, this is a lot of damage to be inflicting on your character. So this is why you use Divine Shield with Corrupted Soul. It's actually going to be quite tanky once you get everything and all your ducks in an order, where you have like tons of armor on your character, and then physical damage reduction, and then, you know, obviously having a little bit of leech to sort of pad. Yeah, I think this is really good for slams. Like Echoes is pretty much best in slot, what you're going to want to be using at the very end game. Another thing too is we'll talk about the Bloodlines, just because I'm talking about Echoes right now. Basically, I wanted to use the Oshabi Bloodline, which was going to give us permanent Adrenaline, which is what it looked like, and I guess GGG also saw that's what it looked like, and they decided to take it away, and now we no longer gain Adrenaline on consuming max rage. We gain some Wild Savagery buff, which gives like 100% ink fizz, and a couple other things. One of them is like cannot be stunned. I'm generally, to be honest, not too interested in it, because I was more so interested in the 10% physical damage reduction that you were going to get from Adrenaline. However, this is not stopping you from having both. You could actually go something like Champion on a low life with, you know, a Red Dream Jewel, getting, you know, like 10, maybe 12k life, then using, you know, Bloodthirst support with Petrified Blood, and doing, you know, like a, you know, Adrenaline with Wild Savagery and all that stuff. So, I'm not too interested in that, and I'm more interested in now probably going for the Breach Bloodline, because the Breach Bloodline can give us 15% less physical damage taken, and generally when you have, you know, your max hits in your POB, Fizz is going to be your lowest one, so getting more physical damage reduction is pretty much exactly what I want, and I have enough damage and everything that I need here from this package. I don't like Rite of Ruin, and this causes me to take more damage, so I am looking forward to the Breach one, and it's also just very synergistic with Echoes of Creation, because we can get, you know, more net recovery. Like right now my net recovery is only like 300 health, but yeah, getting more recovery is really good. I also got like 3 physical damage tattoos in here. Just make sure when you're using tattoos on your character that you don't go below 292 strength, so we can actually do another physical damage one here if we wanted, because we would have exactly 292. So it's just, oh sorry, that's, never mind. I'm thinking that they're worth 5, but every node is 10. I'm thinking PoE2 brain, sorry. But yeah, basically this setup just has, you know, Echoes with the Keystone, and then a little bit more life, and then -1 medium cluster. So just to not make this video super long, but I do have a Mobalytics guide. Like I'll have a Mobalytics page which will have the POB in it, and we'll have lots of tips and tricks for the build. I could sit here and go over all of these, and then I'll probably add some as I think about it. That's another thing too, is I don't want to like make a video with a bunch of these, read them off, and then be like, oh, I forgot one, and then not able to sort of like add it in here. So just keep an eye on this, and this is really good information. All this stuff is just general like quality of life things about slams in general. Like, for example, like used Harvest Reforge defense on chest pieces to try and get something decent with armor. Like when you start getting, you know, Harvest stuff, just do that. And then like another one would be like using Harvest Reforge for Amethyst rings to get, I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, Harvest Reforge Chaos on Amethyst rings. This is to get your Chaos cap easily. And yeah, just lots of stuff like Red Blade Banner swap with Enduring Cry gives you 5 endurance charges instantly because of the infinite Warcry power from this shield, right? So yeah, there's just a bunch of tips here. I'll add them as I kind of think about them, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is for the Mobalytics. There's not really anything else that I want to talk about there. Alrighty, so generally I don't make my own filters, but I'm going to sort of show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to use Killer's triple or quadruple A melee filter that he has every league start. I might use, I think Gucci Prada has like a really good leveling filter as well that I might snag, but if you're on your character page here, you just go to item filters like this, and then you can browse like other people's item filters, and these are all the ones that I kind of have. A lot of them are superseded at this point, and then these are like my followed list. So like quadruple A melee, this is the one by Killer, which I would use for leveling sort of thing. If you do want to actually find these, you want to go to game item filters, and then here's a list of like all the filters like in the game by any player at all. Like here you got slammed leveling by Fubgun. You've got, you know, quadruple A Peacock by Killer. Like Killer does a lot of them, which is really nice. But yeah, I plan to make like a slam filter probably for myself as like an early maps sort of filter. And then I will do like an endgame one as well. So yeah, if you guys are interested, you can just go to my profile and just like find it as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for filters. Alrighty, so for slams, I just want to go over kind of like the pros and cons, what you can expect when you are actually playing slams. Basically, the strengths are that it's fast, it's tanky, it has really good damage, it's very budget friendly. You can do it on basically nothing. Like you can just fresh start it and go, and you can do all your forward voidstones on it, and you know it's generally pretty fast at mapping, so it's going to be a good time. The cons for the build are like T17 mapping can be a little scary. It's a little spooky. I mean, it is a life build. We all know we are basically doing Trickster CI stuff to mitigate, you know, the chaos damage in T17s, all this other stuff. But that's kind of not as prevalent this league. So T17s are sort of like a rough area. And then Uber bosses, obviously, just because it's a life build. And then gearing it for suppress is a little bit tricky because you need, you know, 2 large clusters, 2 small, I think maybe even 3 small suppression clusters, and you have to anoint. Just because you're using Echoes of Creation, you're not getting any suppression from your helmet, so you have to have T1 suppress on a body armor, gloves, and boots. So getting suppression capped is a little bit tricky on a build like this. And so I'm by no means a speedrunner, but I will have a link to like an unlisted video on YouTube of one of my runs where I did the campaign in like 4 hours and 12 minutes from a fresh start. That's just some de-rusting for the league that I've been doing. 412 is like considered a pretty good time for me, but I died once near the end. I was going for a deathless run, but I died anyway, but I finished it out. And yeah, I'll have a link for that if you guys want to look at that and reference anything that I'm doing as far as like the guide plus that, or you can just play along with me if you want as well. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the guide. I wanted to make this a little bit shorter and sweeter because normally I make pretty long videos, and I figured this might be nicer. If you do, though, have any tips and tricks about slams that I have not listed in the Mobalytics, definitely put them in the comments, and I will probably just add them to it, and then we can have a big wealth of knowledge of general like tips and tricks for slams. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to be streaming this on Twitch if you want to come give me a follow, and we can hang out over there on League Start and stuff. And yeah, we're just going to be pushing ladder on HCSSF and then probably making a crazy second build. So yeah, anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.